I wanted to ask you this later, but I'm just gonna do it right now. How do you feel like the main event of this Saturday, well, tomorrow, is gonna go between Blachowicz and Adesanya?
Dude, that's a tough one for me, man, because it's one of those things that like Jan, he's just a powerhouse. He's a
Hmm.
heavy powerhouse. He's definitely gonna have like 30 pounds over Izzy, like 30 to 35 pounds over him. Those big guys, they can cut a massive amount of weight
Hmm.
to make a 205. So to me, man, it's gonna be a really tough one for Izzy, because especially, man, like you go back to Izzy's kickboxing background. You know, he's fought at heavyweight, but if you look at those heavyweights that he was fighting, they're not really heavyweights. You know, they're
Hmm.
not heavyweights in the UFC. I don't think a lot of them are even like light heavyweights in the UFC. I just think they look like overblown middleweights. If I'm being quite honest with you.
Hmm.
So that's one thing that I was taking into consideration looking at. You know, they're not the Mirko Cro Cop heavyweights
Yeah.
or them back in the day. So it's a different type of animal now. Jan Blachowicz, you know, is definitely a strong powerhouse. You know, I don't. He has a tough chin. He's going to be heavy. He has that power. You can definitely see whenever he was throwing those body kicks to Dominic Reyes that he was hurt
Hmm.
every single time. He left him red welts. Like, it didn't look like it was a deep bruise
Yeah.
on Dominic's right side. So Izzy's just gonna have to be really patient and really careful and pick him apart. So man, if Izzy knocks him out, I'm gonna be super impressed. I'm gonna be beyond impressed because to knock out somebody like Jan Blachowicz is like a task to do, and like to go up a weight class where he weighed in under the scale, he weighed in 200,
Hmm.
200.5, and that to me is like would be phenomenal, like would be crazy. And if he does it and he does it in spectacular fashion with a knockout, man, Izzy will probably be one of the greatest of all times, in my opinion. Uh, so I'm leaning towards Izzy. I think Izzy outpoints him. But man, if anybody gets knocked out, I'm probably leaning toward Jan Blachowicz knocking out Israel Adesanya. But to me, I would go 60-40 Israel Adesanya.
Yeah. Well, I think that fight is a lot closer than some people make it out to be. People are acting like Jan is a bum. Well, but he's champion for a reason. Like Dominic Reyes was a tough opponent, so it'll definitely be interesting to see the outcome on that fight. Another interesting fight on the card is obviously the title fight for your weight class, Peter Yan versus Aljamain Sterling. How do you feel like that fight will go?
Man, that's another tough one too, because I see Peter Yan and he has crisp hands. He has really crisp.
Hmm.
He's added kicks to his arsenal and everything. I look at it and I just think it's a tough fight for Aljo, even though like it's kind of like contrasting styles. You know, Aljo's more like I'm gonna take you down, submit you, and Peter Yan's more that I'm gonna walk you down and I'm gonna
Hmm.
outbox you. I'm trying to knock your head off every single time.
Yeah.
So for me, I look at that and I'm just like, well, who would be able to implement their game plan first? And honestly, I think Aljo being so like unorthodox, I think he might be able to get the better of it. It is a tough one for Aljamain, and it is a tough one for Peter Yan. This fight's a lot is pretty close in my eyes, but I like Aljamain and I like Aljamain, and I think he's gonna get a. I think he'd get a decision, or he might submit him. But if anybody's getting knocked out, it's definitely Aljamain Sterling. So it's one of those. I think decision Aljamain. I think submission Aljamain. If anybody's getting knocked out, I think it will be Aljamain.
Hmm.
So I think Peter Yan with a knockout or submission or decision. I think it would be Aljamain Sterling getting the victory. But this is another close one to me, man. I think it's like to me this one's more of a 55-45, and I'm leaning towards Aljamain.
Yeah. Like I just can't for the life of me make a prediction for that fight. Like I'm just gonna have to see how it plays out.
It's like splitting hairs here and there, uh, and every grappling exchange that I see, I think Aljamain is just going to be able to outwork him in smaller spots. So it's really just small, man. It's super small details that I think Aljamain will be able to outwork Peter Yan in those positions, but
Hmm.
super close, man. I'm slightly picking Aljamain Sterling.
Yeah. Um, Now for the third title fight on the card, do you think Megan Anderson has it in her to beat arguably one of the most dominant champs in the sport right now?
She has the reach. I know she got popping her punches.
Hmm.
She just has to keep it at distance. She had if she's been working with James Krause, she's been working with those guys for quite a bit. I believe she has the tools to be able to beat somebody like Amanda Nunes.
Hmm.
But that's the thing. It's Amanda Nunes. Amanda Nunes go out there. She's the full package. She'll be able to
Yeah.
beat you up or knock you out on the feet. So it's gonna be a tough out, not like Megan Anderson being such the underdog. I think she's gonna thrive in that. She might be able to pull it off. She might be able
Hmm.
to pull it off just because her reach. And I was looking at their stare down, and Amanda Nunes was
Yeah.
the entire time, and I kind of looked at that. I was like, man, I might put some money on uh
On
on
Megan, yeah.
Megan Anderson just because, man, she got the height. You never know, because that straight right coming down the pipe from somebody who's that tall, man, might catch Amanda and rock her, and we might have a new featherweight champ. So to me, I wouldn't mind throwing like $100 on Megan Anderson just because the payout would be pretty big. Uh,
Hmm.
so I, but if you're asking me what I go, like I'm like Amanda Nunes.
Hi. Do you know what tomorrow is? Tomorrow is the day that Aljamain Sterling, Megan Anderson, and the last tile bender, Israel Adesanya, suck off the competition and win titles! Ah!
Jan versus Izzy. I think the fact that Izzy's a lot smaller is going to be detrimental to him. Jan's big, man, and I think he's so good everywhere, and he's developed this kind of pressure that you saw in the Reyes fight, where he uses that size and that power to his advantage. I think if he goes to the ground, obviously Jan's got the clear advantage with size as well, not just skill. And I think Jan's just going to walk him down, and I think he can get the finish. I believe in Jan. He's one of my favourites. I think he can do it. I got Aljo in that one, man. Aljo's one of my favourites, and he fights like this lightning bolt. He's got this constant pressure, this constant speed, whether it's on the ground or striking, and he keeps that pace. Whether he can keep it for a 5-rounder, I don't know, but I don't think it will take that long. I think Jan is going to succumb to the pressure within 3 rounds. I think Aljo's going to do what he did to Corey and just fight like a bat out of hell to start, and he can just snatch him up, and he'll just be the human backpack like he always is. I think he can get it done within 3 rounds, probably by submission. Gotta go with Nunes on that. I think when the difference between someone's MMA skill set is that vast, I think it just nullifies reach and height and those variables. I think Nunes is just too good wherever it goes that I don't think the height and the reach is going to be an issue for her. I think she takes it quite easily and probably in a decision or she gets it done early.